of all, Jai Bhim to everybody who's present here. Such a nice gathering after such a long time. After every year, we such a big gathering like this every year. So it is wonderful. All these young people working so hard to put all this together. Oh, no voice? Something happened here.
No, it's good.
It's good.
You can hear you.
Oh, you can hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, on a little comment on the last speaker, because I'm not from IT, so I did not understand the correlation and the connections that were being put together. So unfortunately, I'm so sorry about it. It'll take me a little bit of time before I can get to what the gentleman was trying to say. But a lot of what I am going to say has been covered by Nimesh Kedare. He has such a wonderful speech he put together. He covered almost every aspect of what I was about to say, unfortunately. But first of all, we thank the Houston team led by Dr. Suresh, Andy, Praful, Aditya, who have put together such a wonderful show here. It's very, very nice to see all these people. And for me, it's an honor to be here in front of you to say a few words from my perspective. I mean, we are proud that this legacy of Dr. Ambedkar continues to shape modern India. So all we see here, the developments we see here in India is a legacy that Dr. Ambedkar left behind in forming this constitution. And I mean, everybody has already spoken about his birth and the humiliation he went through, but all the humiliation and hardship made him a hardcore person to fight back the system that was enormous. And what he had with him was no connection, no resources, no money. Then what could he do? How could such a person with no connection, no money, and no resources fight a huge system which has been prevalent for thousands of years? So and he decided, and he found a way, and we always find a way. And he found a way. Education is the only weapon which will take us across and will fight the system by itself. And that's what he did. He focused on his education. He went all the way to through his degrees and went to Columbia, London School of Economics, Gray's Inn, and after doing that, he came back to India to work for the oppressed people. It would have been very easy for him to, with such qualifications, to settle down in any country he wanted to. But he returned for what? He returned back because he had a desire to change the system. And he was so much, so the first paper he wrote at the age of 27 in Columbia University, and that paper, Caste in India, that was the first detailed study by anybody on caste in India, how they originate, how they are created, and how they are maintained. So that paper received a lot of big applause from his professors and his colleagues. And then he also was so obsessed with books that he had about 50,000 books of his private library, which was the largest collection ever in the world at the time. And so I'm just cutting down short so I don't take a whole lot of time. Combined with all his education and his degrees, he was chosen the first law minister of India. A Dalit to become the first law minister of India was quite a commendable thing to do at the time when the whole system of caste was against us. And so after he became that, and what he wanted to do, honestly, was to put a dent into the system. And he did it. And how he did it was that after he became the law minister, he came up with some reforms for the people of India, and he put those reforms into the 1935 Act of Government of India under the colonial rule, and then he translated over into the Constitution when he was appointed the chief architect of the Constitution. So, in the Constitution, he made certain provisions, starting from the preamble of the Constitution, which everybody talked about: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. And Dr. Suresh has operated a lot on fraternity, and I'll go down a little more deep how I see fraternity as. And then he had the inviolable fundamental rights, the abolition of untouchability, and subsequently the provision of reservation for the untouchable communities. The provisions gave untouchables the right to choose their own destiny. Their destiny will no more be declared by the caste in which they are born. But before that, as soon as your child is born, his destiny is fixed. If you're born a sweeper or a janitor caste, you're a janitor. You can't go beyond that. If you're born a chamar, you can not think beyond that. So all this was there, but nobody can choose their destiny. Excuse me. And because of the provisions he made in the Constitution, he had the opportunity to change this system of choosing destinies by caste. And he gave us a reservation as well. So in the reservation system, a lot of us, actually, myself graduated from IIT Delhi Chemical Engineering a long time ago, and because of his sacrifices, his blessings, that I was able to go through it. And then finally took a top position in ONGC, worked there for several years before coming to US. And US has no reservation. I did my master's here in the US from New Mexico Tech, and then finally worked with many multinational companies. No reservation here. How could I survive without a reservation? That's the thought process in India, that if we stop the reservation, people cannot survive. But as somebody said earlier, it's not the reservation that is making us great. It's that we are talented, we are good, we are smart people. It's the reservation is putting us down. In the name of reservation, we are clubbed down. Oh, he came from the quota. Club him down. So that's how the system works. And it has happened with me many times in my personal experiences. When the name come to send somebody to a foreign country for a foreign visit, no, the quota people, they cannot go because he came from quota. Only my Tripathi, Tiwari, Sharma, Chaturvedi, only those people are entitled to go visit foreign countries on the government expense, not us. So these battles have been fought, even transfer posting, everywhere there is this caste factor which always comes in place. Okay, so my class 2, and how is this maintained? How this is maintained, the caste system. So you see, India is a country of festivals. One festival goes, the second one starts, and the third one starts. Did any Indian have a time to think beyond those festivals? They think, oh, अभी नाग पंचमी गई, अब ये आने वाला है, उसकी तैयारी करनी है. अब वो होली आने वाली, उसकी तैयारी करनी है. अब बैसाखी means the whole series of events. So my grandfather used to say there are 365 days in a year, and Hindus have 366 festivals. So the festival is a system that actually maintains this system of Hindu caste to continue on. And we can't break this because it's so much ingrained in our society, in our culture, and we basically unconsciously like engulfed into this system or sucked up into the system. And our people who came up through Dr. Ambedkar's sacrifices are also sucked into the system, and they started following the same pattern of celebrating Diwali, Holi, and all these things, and it continues on and on. So the festival, and Dr. Ambedkar tried to break it too, because when he converted in 1956, when he converted over to Buddhism or embraced Buddhism, he put the 22 pratigyas or 22 vows. And all of those vows, if you read closely, they talk about getting rid of these festivals. Do not celebrate these festivals. If you continue to do so, you will never be able to come out of these Hindu caste systems. Anyway, so a big population of our country enjoys the freedom and wealth due to Baba Sahib's sacrifices, and then lie about caste to gain access to upper caste societies, Hindu temples, other Hindu religious activity. And sometimes even if you need a room in a dharamshala, you lie about your caste. Oh, I'm Thakur. You know, that's how you get a room. Otherwise, you won't get a room in a dharamshala. Nobody will entertain you. So now I'm coming to the last point. Is in his paper on annihilation of caste, Dr. Ambedkar said, caste is a social system which embodies the arrogance and selfishness of a perverse section of Hindus who were superior enough in social status and who had the authority to force it on their inferiors. So a group of Hindu elites got together and framed a system which is called a caste system. So they stay on the top, and whoever they could enforce it on, they made him the lower caste, and whatever the way they treated them was become their system. So he strongly believed that the remedy to abolish caste system lies in intercaste marriages. That's what he wrote in Annihilation of Caste. Among the Hindus, intercaste marriage should be promoted. I would say, he said it should be mandatory to marry intercaste in Hindus, among Hindus. And he says in his word, intercaste marriage is the only solvent, like a solvent is water, is an only solvent that can dissolve all the different castes and make one India, where it becomes a casteless society. But it is sad to say that even the so-called Ambedkarites, after converting to Buddhism, continue to promote the caste system by marrying within their own caste. So that's very important. Whenever we look for a bride or a groom, we try to find somebody within our caste. Oh, us jaat mein, hamari jaat mein koi hai kya? You know, that is what we have been doing. We have been promoting this caste system all through. Why don't we break it? Why don't we read the Annihilation of Caste, say we have to marry intercaste marriage? Without intercaste marriages, we will not be able to. And the last is one thing for sure we are beginning to see is that now some of the well-off middle-class families from upper caste have come forward by marrying outside their caste. The wheel of change has started turning, and the day is not far when the caste will dissolve and India will see a casteless society and eventually merge with Baba Sahib's dream of India. Thank you.